We had a video introduction of our great executive board, and we had an appropriate introduction of my partner, your General Secretary Treasurer. But I want to make sure that everybody in this room, I want to make sure that our leadership from all across two great countries understand that this is the team that really has helped to build this IAFF into the powerhouse that it's become. And it's this team that's really helped to lay out the strategies, to put forward the resources, to help make the tough decisions on exactly where we are going to prioritize our efforts on behalf of all of our members. So I just want to make sure that everybody gives an appropriate appreciation to the great team of the IAFF, our General Secretary Treasurer, all of our executive board members out there. Thank you for what you do. You do an incredible job on behalf of 300,000 members. That's right. And I also, Kevin, you opened us up for this morning, and you've got two great directors here, and Barry and David, but I just also want to make sure that everybody recognizes we have an incredible staff all across this IAFF, in every division and every department, providing the resources and the tools and the services and the education, the representation, everything that makes this IAFF work for you. And while we're here this week, I want you to really understand that it's not only putting together this program, it's not only bringing in some 28 individuals, members of Congress, top leadership to present to you. It's the work that they do day in and day out to try to advance and make a difference in our members' future, and that's the incredible staff, governmental affairs, our political action department, in fact, across this whole IAFF. Thank you to our staff for everything you do. And this conference did start a long time ago. But the truth of the matter is that our focus and commitment on political action, although it's been important all across these many decades, really became the central work and one of the central priorities of this union. It was a time in 1988 when a leader understood that to really make a difference, we have to make a difference out there in that political arena. And he helped to elevate our focus and our commitment and that work to an incredible level. And I had an incredible opportunity to work for him and to be able to be a part of that ride that began to bring our union to where it's come today. And rightfully so, this conference recognized that work by naming it after him. And so to our General President Emeritus, the guy who really understood about money is the mother's milk of politics, my former boss, a great IAFF leader, Al Whitehead. Al, thank you for everything that you've done for this union. Where are you, my friend? Over here. And just one more, and then I'm actually going to get started. We've all been at this a long time. We win battles, we lose battles, we fight the fight. We take the streets, we take the steps. We go to city halls, we go to state capitals, we come to the nation's capital. But I have to tell you that I have never been more proud, and I have never seen such an incredible commitment to success in some of the most difficult and trying circumstances, an environment where an entire country in so many ways decided that the right thing to do was to attack us, our members, and public workers. And to watch a state not only come together, to watch every local in a state really step up to the plate, to watch the leadership across our state and local affiliate bodies on the ground, willing to do the hard work, and watching our members actually and really engage in those neighborhoods, knocking on those doors, making those phone calls, and stepping up to the plate, putting their money where their mouth was. I can't tell you how proud I am. I know we were all proud when John Kasich, who thought he was going to ram down a bill right down the throats of our members, found out that when our members and leaders take the streets, the people will follow them, and by a 62 to 38 vote, issue 2 prevails, and we win. And it's all because of the members and leadership in Ohio. Is Ohio in the house? Stand up, Ohio. You made us all proud. By the way, Mark, I saw your eyes. When I meant issue 2 prevailed, I mean we voted against it and it went down, and that was winning. I don't know, I got that. Listen, to all of you, all of my sisters and brothers, each one of you, leaders, it's always an honor to gather here in the nation's capital at this conference. It's great to be together with each and every one of you, leaders from all across the country, leaders of this great union of ours. The truth is, you really are the core of this IAFF. You're the ones who know how important the legislative process is to improving the lives and the livelihoods of our members. You get how important the political work is to making our members' jobs safe, enriching their financial future, protecting their retirement systems. Ed, you couldn't have said it any better. I know he's left the stage, but, there's coming from the horse's mouth, leadership on the ground. And just like every one of you, you're all the agents of change. You're the ones who get things done. It's all of you who lead at these critical times. It's you that's fighting in the trenches for our members. It's you who's standing up and who get in the face of those who do want to turn that clock back on what we've built over time. No, it's you. It's you who's moved forward to make sure our members continue to be one of the most respected and important pieces of the very fabric of our nation and of our society. That's who you are. And that's what you do every day. It's your work that makes this executive board of ours so proud. It makes our members proud. I know how humble you are. I always say you don't like to bring the light of attention to yourself and to your work. But it is the very heart of this IAFF, and it's your work that has shown this country just how strong we are. This union is. When we're fighting together for a better America, and everyone sees exactly what you can accomplish and what you're willing to do, the chances you take, and put yourself forward. I am so proud just to be a part of you. And I am so proud for all you do for our members. And I want to make sure that I thank each and every one of you. Thank you for what you do for our members. So let's just step back for a second and think about what we have been facing this last 18 months. We stood up, we fought back when Scott Walker and John Kasich overreached to take basic American rights away from the people who work for a living. We weighed in for our members when the Chris Christies and the Rick Scotts and the dozens of their ilk have gone after the retirement security of our members. We stood together so many times against enormous odds, willing and ready to fight back no matter what was thrown at us. We were on the front lines as the Tea Party coordinated their takeover plans, while the Koch brothers and ExxonMobil readied to fund them, and as ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, organized, prepared, and distributed nothing less than an all-out legislative assault against us, distributed over dozens of states. Last year and again this year in Michigan, Oklahoma, Alabama, Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska, New Hampshire, Tennessee, and so many more states, we witnessed their legislative efforts to repeal bargaining rights where they existed, remove arbitration where it had been used, repeal presumption laws that had been passed, and eliminate payroll deduction just to simply cripple us as an organization. And they moved these issues into the state legislative sessions all across this nation. In Missouri and Arizona, we showed that we won't let them take our political voice away. We're not going to let them take us out of the democratic process through paycheck deception, not without a fight. And we're going to do that again right in California. They've had to do it the third time maybe in 3 decades, but they're ready. They're stepping up. They're going to fight back. The opposition better get ready because we're going to win that ballot measure if it goes on that ballot again. In South Dakota and Wyoming, we stood up and we stopped their attack on our members' well-deserved rights that they had won over the years. In South Carolina, we're standing up to nothing short of a mean-spirited, angry ramblings of a miserable, no-good governor and Nikki Haley, who is doing everything she possibly can to kill unions and the lives of union workers in the Palmetto states. And you know what? We're not letting her do it without fighting back. We're speaking up, and we're going to fight back. The attacks have been unrelenting. They are aimed precisely to land a fatal blow on us, this entire union, and all of labor. But in state after state, many with much less national attention than Wisconsin and Ohio, it's been all of us. It's been all of you. It's been our leadership and our membership on the front lines who have stood up and fought back. It's you who have demonstrated what our members mean to their communities and neighborhoods. You have put that face out there for every neighbor to recognize. You've reminded politicians of this union's power. You've proven once again that this IAFF is a force to be reckoned with, that we cannot be pushed around, and that, by God, if you mess with one of us, you are messing with all of us. And this IAFF will bring every resource to bear on our members' behalf. And I'll tell you without any reservation that as long as you allow me to be your president, I'm going to be standing with you. I'm going to be marching with you. I'm going to be out there protesting with you. I'll be in the streets fighting alongside of you, because we are never going to back down. We never waver. We never back out. And the fact is, we always prevail. And we prevail, we do it together. I got your back. You got mine. But here this week, we also need to make sure that we remind all of those elected members of Congress and all those United States senators that what they do on Capitol Hill matters. It's not what this great country deserves right now, what we've been experiencing. We need to remind them that Congress was created to advance the agenda of the people. That's why they exist. That was the very foundation of our country. Partisan bickering and posturing doesn't protect our members' careers. It doesn't keep them safe in the dangerous work they do. It doesn't pay their mortgage or put their children through school. We need to remind them that the extreme right and left wings of either political party trying to outmaneuver each other doesn't create a fair tax code. It doesn't create the economic growth that allows our state and municipal governments to receive the revenues they need to maintain government services. And we need to remind ourselves and our members that even though most of the media attention has been spent on the attacks that are occurring in the states and localities all across our nation, that there are still critical issues being debated in our nation's capital that affects our members' future. And they are the issues that can determine the viability of the defined benefit retirement systems that you have built and those that preceded us built, that our members count on, that will protect our members' safety and health, that will maintain their staffing levels to ensure an appropriate response and keep our members alive. And the issues we discuss here this week will determine if we're going to be able to continue to do the most fundamental part of our job as a union, and that is ensuring that the funding is available to bring back to work every IAFF member that lost their job during what has been the worst economic recession since the Great Depression. Simply put, we're here because Congress and this federal government still matter. Because what happens on Capitol Hill in this city, in the White House, and throughout the federal administration, it still matters. Over the last 12 years, since you honored me with allowing me to serve as your general president, we've had a number of years where the leaders in both chambers of Congress and the President of the United States could not be considered strong friends of labor. And for many in labor, it was an uphill fight just to try to get a foot in the door. But while the trade union movement had to watch from the sidelines all too often, content to side with just one political party, content to complain while their members' agenda was being ignored by an unfriendly administration in Congress, this IAFF of yours went on the offensive. We stood strong on our political principle that total partisanship doesn't get the job done, that actions and support for firefighters is what matters, and I'm proud of what we've accomplished. Together, we authorized and funded the FIRE Act and the SAFER Act at a time when Congress was cutting the COPS program to zero. We more than doubled the PSOB benefit program and passed the Hometown Heroes to include coverage for heart attacks and strokes, all in a Republican-controlled Congress. We delivered a $3.5 billion health care tax benefit for our members through the passage of the HELPS Act. And at the same time, we also played some defense. When the Bush administration moved to cut Fair Labor Standards Act entitlements for American workers, we protected firefighters, paramedics, and fire officers, preserving vital overtime benefits. We battled that administration. Each and every year, they zeroed out the programs. And each and every year, we found a way to fund the SAFER Act and the FIRE Act, and we succeeded in bringing over $5 billion in direct aid to local fire departments. We've been able to maintain our partnership on the Hazardous Material Training Program with the U.S. Department of Transportation, which has now trained over 100,000 of our members all across this country. Working with Locals 94 and 854, we were able to help, and Congress finally acted after 8 long overdue years to finally pass as a Droga 9/11 bill that our members were entitled to, and the coverage and the care that they had been waiting for. Just 4 weeks ago, Congress was persuaded to allocate the spectrum needed to improve our members' ability to communicate during emergency operations, while securing the $8 billion in federal money that it'll take to build out the infrastructure so that our jurisdictions, not a single one, will have to spend a single penny. And finally, in the current environment where Congress has been so impotent, where partisanship was killing every important issue, where political gamesmanship blocked the movement of critical legislative measures, and when nearly every other segment of government was getting butchered, on the very last day that the United States Senate was in session, in its last recorded vote, this union of ours was able to again get the Congress to approve and appropriate $742 million in SAFER funds, while also rewriting the rules of the program so that jurisdictions could receive these funds and grants without any strings attached. And so now these new funds are in addition to the $620 million that we were able to put on the street that brought back over 300,000 laid-off IAFF members and filled over 2,500 additional positions lost through attrition. No, these latest rounds of applications, which closed just a couple of weeks ago and went through the peer review process just last week, will now, by early May, find cities and municipalities all across this country able to receive the funding that translates into bringing back, saving, and creating over 7,000 more firefighter jobs. That's our jobs program, and by God, it's been working. And while we've had our disappointments, and we've always been in the game. Our members prospered because of that strategy, proving again and again that what happens here in Washington, D.C. really does make a difference in their lives. But today, as we gather this week for the 31st time, we have to stay engaged once again because there's a lot at stake. We need to weigh in on a bill called the Pension Transparency Act. That sole intention is to ensure that defined benefit pension plans are simply killed all across this country. It's not about transparency at all. It's about getting rid of the system that provides the security our members need and deserve and have earned, and replace it with a system where those on Wall Street simply will make more and more. We need to reinforce our position on mandatory Social Security coverage, something that is critical to over 75% of our members. Something that may not show up in the media reports, but our enemies, given the budget, and tax reform, and deficit reduction proposals that float all over this city and continue to bubble up, well, they're going to use one of those to try to shove that right down our throats. We need to reinforce to those that still want to tax your employer-provided health care plans that it's not only no, but it's hell no. That's not the way to tax, is to tax workers and those in the middle class. And for those who are pushing for an unrelented tack from salary freezes to cuts in staffing and benefits to trying to privatize their jobs, as it affects our federal members, they need to know that we will not tolerate their actions. We are all together in this. State, local, and federal. Every job is as important to the others. Now, I personally had lots of meetings, and I can tell you in meeting after meeting, I've made it perfectly clear. I've made it clear to those on both sides of that political aisle that if you support mandatory Social Security, if you support the taxation of our health care benefits, and if you start coming after more and more our federal members, that if you continue down that path, that you are an enemy of the professional firefighters of this nation and this IAFF, regardless of who you are or what position you have. And now it's time for you to deliver that same message. You need to tell them that what they do here matters. You need to tell them that we will hold them accountable this fall. And you can tell them that we turned that spigot off for 10 months last year when they didn't step up to the plate for us. And although we've turned it back on to some degree, you can make it damn clear that when that spigot gets turned on, it could be either used to support them or to take them out. And you can tell them that we're not going to accept any excuses, that they are either with us or they are against us. No apologies, period. There's only one way to go, with us, against us. I don't want to hear any bullshit in the middle. Now, I don't want to cast an overly negative shadow over the current environment we find ourselves in, because in the most difficult of times, all of you have always continued to work the halls and to find ways for us to win far more times than we lose. So while we're fighting the battles in the halls of Congress and all across the states that you've been experiencing, we also know one fundamental truth, that the war we wage going forward can only be won if we remain completely engaged in the political arena. Because what happens in that arena will determine our members' fate for decades to come. What's at stake is who's going to control the United States Senate, who's going to have the power in the U.S. House of Representatives, whose phone is on at this dais that keeps making this thing click back. I know whose it was. And who's going to own the bully pulpit in the White House and control the 15 agencies of our federal government? What's at stake is who's going to sit in the executive mansions after 14 gubernatorial races are concluded this year, and who will control the state legislatures that are up all across the country. What's at stake is the very future of our country, the future of our labor movement, the future of this union, and the future of our members. If we can keep Debbie Stabenow and Sherrod Brown, John Tester, and so many other friends in the United States Senate, while also helping Shelley Berkeley in Nevada and Texas Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst win seats in the upper chamber, this union will continue to win more for our members than we will ever lose. If we can ensure that Tom Harkin keeps the chair of the Labor and Education Committee and Danny Inouye, instead of Thad Cochran, chairs appropriations, our members' lives will be more secure. In the House, we need to make sure that Betty Sutton, the wife of one of our retired members, and John Oseguera, the Speaker of the Nevada House and member of North Las Vegas 1607, win their elections. And so many scores and scores of others in the House of Representatives to win their elections. Because if we succeed, we'll be putting our friend George Miller back setting the agenda for the House of Labor as the chair of the Labor Committee, which will mean retaking control, and which will also mean we will get our National Collective Bargaining Bill back on the agenda once again. It's tough, it's a long reach, but it can be done. But it's up to us to do it. In the states, we have to remember that if it wasn't for John Lynch in New Hampshire, Brian Schweitzer in Montana, and so many others, those states would have repealed all the meaningful labor and employment rights, and our members would have been massacred. There'll be literally hundreds of races this year where we're all going to be making critical decisions at every level of our union and at every level of government on who are we going to support in this incredibly important election year, as well as where this IAFF will be playing hard. With our country so divided over the poisonous tone in politics today, it's not going to be easy. And because, God bless you, I know it's on everyone's mind in the room, I want to be very clear right now. In the coming months, our executive board will be going through a critically important process, the same one we've gone through every presidential election year. We have not yet taken a formal vote, and we all, our entire board, Tommy, myself, will all be talking with all of you in your respective districts and states, just as we always do. And as I travel around this entire country over the next many months, literally stopping in on every single state meeting I can possibly fit into my schedule, some 45 and counting, leading up to our convention in Philadelphia this July, when the delegates assemble will make this union's final and formal decision. I can tell you this: the records and words of the candidates when it comes to the issues important to the lives and livelihoods of our members are clear. The stakes we face as a union are clear. And I can assure all of you here that we will not be sitting out this presidential election. We will be following our political principle to the T. We will be supporting the candidate that has supported us, and we'll be working hard against the candidate that has been the enemy to our members his entire political career. And knowing the records, I'm saying to you now that I am confident that we will be chasing Mitt Romney, who was a bad governor for our members in Massachusetts, who opposes the Safer and Fire Acts that have kept thousands of our members at work. Then what do you say? Are we going to chase him around? What does Massachusetts say about, are we going to go after Mitt Romney like we did old Rudy 4 years ago? What about it? All right. And so we will be chasing him all over this country to make sure that the only view he has of this White House is going to be one that he'll get if he rides one of these double-decker tour buses. That's as close as he's going to get to the White House. And yes, we will also kick into full gear the process of educating our members and preparing ourselves for the endorsement of our President of the United States, Barack Obama. Now, I'm not naive. I'm out there on the ground, and you know it as much as anyone in this room. And we will have members who opposes whatever stand we'll take. But we were all elected to make decisions and lead on what's best for their working lives and for this union. So we will be making that decision. And we have to be clear and steadfast, even in the face of some vocal opposition about why we need to step up to the plate for President Obama and for the man who's been a great friend, a great advocate, a true champion for us for over 3 decades, Vice President Joe Biden. We're going to have to do the right thing and do just that. And yes, in the face of some angry members, it at times seems hard to do. It makes it tough sometimes. Can you make the right call? But that's what leadership is all about. We simply can't let anyone, not the extreme threats from the far right, not the media, not those of our members who think we shouldn't be involved in politics at all. We cannot let them get us off track. There is way too much at stake. We can't let them confuse our members, those, the enemy out there on the issues. We can't let those that would really try to annihilate us and demonize us be allowed to play to the strongly held social and cultural views that so many of our members hold. And I understand that. But when they are focused on those issues and those people play to those angels on their shoulder, at the same time they're getting prepared to prey on their jobs and their retirements and their family's future and their ability to even have a profession. And we have to be prepared to lay it out there. This IAFF needs to be and will be supporting the president and the vice president once again, because they have delivered for this union. They have delivered for our members and the American middle class during tough economic times. We will be supporting them because whether we will be faced with the likes of Romney, Santorum, or Gingrich, who are seeking to kill our union, are you kidding me? We have to take a side. We have to stand up, and we're going to stand up, and we're going to fight. We're going to fight on what's right, because the stakes for our members is what is worth doing that for. And whether or not our members are going to be safe in the future, That's what is going to count. Whether they will have the right to bargain in so many states or not, that's what's at stake. Whether their health care will be taxed or not. Whether we can protect their pensions or not. Whether this union continues to have a political voice or not. It's really that simple. So brothers and sisters, we have all taken an oath to do this work because we hold strong convictions about what is right and what is wrong. We have a belief in our members who work tirelessly on the front lines, risking their lives so that others will live. We know this country was founded on values that include hard work and the rights of those who do that work. This is our time to take back the legislatures for our members. This is our week to make a difference for our union. This is our year to show how powerful and important our members are, and this union is. And it's all of us who will make this happen together. Each and every one of us together. We're the ones that will do the hard work. We'll take the shots from those who don't agree with us. But I will be standing at the front line making sure our position is clear. And together, we are the ones that will light the way. Change the direction our country has taken. Turn it to a better day for our members and their futures, and we'll do it as we've always done it, as this union has always done it. We'll do it together. God bless you. Have a great week. God bless every firefighter on the front line everywhere.